Legend here, back once again with another video for you guys. This time you guys might be able to hear me a little bit more clearly because, well, I got a mic now. Yep, got it as a gift right here. So now I can talk to you guys a little bit clearer. Hopefully, you guys can hear me a little bit better than you could on my other videos. But yeah, I did want to make another video with you guys, talking to you guys about the new Death Note one shot that came out on Monday, on the 3rd, I believe it was. Yeah, it actually kind of made quite of a buzz when it came out. It actually was trending on Twitter worldwide. That doesn't happen too often in the anime community. With a one shot coming out and just being just a buzz around the world, that's a big deal, you know. And since it's a big deal, I want to talk about it because I did read it, and I did like it. Um, I mean, there were certain things that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, especially when it came to the ending. But but we'll talk about that, all right? But let's get right into it, all right? But first, uh, for those of you who aren't familiar, I'm going to be talking about the ending, number one. So spoiler alert. But before I get into that, I wanted to touch on the original Death Note in case people don't know or understand what Death Note is. Death Note is a anime that came out back in the 2000s. I'm not sure if it was 2007 or 2010. I'm not sure. I probably should look that up. But yeah, came out and it made quite a buzz. It was actually very popular when it came out, and I realized that it's one of those shows that um, I've learned that people who don't even like anime end up loving Death Note, because it's a mystery show. It's just a game of cat and mouse between Light Yagami and L, the best detective in the world. And the Death Note is basically a notebook where if you write somebody's first and last name in the book while picturing how they look in their mind so you don't mix up different people, they will die. They will die within 40 seconds of a heart attack. And you can specify how people die, you can do this. And what happened in the original Death Note was that Light Yagami used this to try and eliminate crime. So he built kind of a god complex and just kind of just went to town with them, right? But this time with this one shot, we got a little bit of a twist. This was in the same world about 10 years after the events of the original Death Note, and this time we're introduced to our main character, Minoru Tanaka. So Minoru is kind of more of a regular guy. He doesn't have a god complex, but from what he does, we kind of find out he's more on the social justice side. And he's a lot more relatable to the people today. And he doesn't come at first. He's introduced as somebody that isn't too smart, but he actually is quite intelligent. But because of that, he becomes more relatable. Light, as we knew, was somebody who had all the highest test scores, who the number one in the class in the country, all that good stuff. He was just a super genius. Where Minoru was just kind of your regular guy. He didn't have great test scores like that. He was just another kid, you know. And it was interesting to see things with a more relatable character and how they would react with the death note. When you're interacting with somebody who doesn't have a god complex, who doesn't want to eliminate all crime, who doesn't want to do all those things, but instead um, they try to just, make the world a better place a different way. And it's very interesting at the turn that it took. So the story starts off, of course, with Ryuk being bored, decides to throw the death note down to earth, all that good stuff, and Minoru picks it up. And when Ryuk wants to know what Minoru wants to do with it, he decides to tell Ryuk to come back in 2 years, and he will carry out the plan that we thought of, how to use the death note. So, long story short, what he decides to do is he decides to use this notebook instead of trying to use it to eliminate crime. What he does is he decides to sell it. Right now, the reason why he wants to sell it is being kept a secret from us through this whole one shot. We don't know what his plans are when he sells it, how he plans to get this money, because you're thinking if he's gonna sell the Death Note, yeah, he can keep it a secret that he's selling it, but how is he going to get the money? Because if he just gets a whole bunch of money, people are gonna find this out, you know. And if he gives up the Death Note, he's not gonna remember how he even got the money. So it's gonna cause an issue. So how is he going to do this? Well, my man Tanaka is a smart man, all right, because he puts it up for auction, and then he does what gives credibility. He has Ryuk hold up the sign, so people who can see Ryuk, the few people can see Ryuk, can what's the word I'm looking for? They can validate the fact um, that this is real because Ryuk is actually holding it, right? And even then, people who can't see Ryuk just see a paper just floating there in front of the TV, right? So, so this gets bigger and bigger to the point where the governments start fighting over it. It's China and America trying to fight over it. And I'm telling you right now, this might not have been a good idea, but he gives it to Trump. Trump is in the manga, and Trump ends up getting the Death Note, which, well, is a tragedy within itself. But whatever, I'm not gonna get political. But yeah, so it would be a tragedy if anybody had the Death Note. So yeah, what happens is he gets that, and I mean, throughout this whole process, we're seeing a lot of familiar faces. We're seeing Nier, who's now L. We're seeing Matsuda. We're seeing all the different familiar faces that we saw in the early Death Note, especially Ryuk, of course. You know, can't forget that and his apples. But yeah, but at the end of the story, what happens is, to get the money, he decides to have I believe it was about a trillion yen. So he has billions of yen, or over a trillion yen. So he has billions of yen going to different people within his district. Everybody 60 and younger, and it makes the economy boom over there. He basically solves everybody's money problems within the area. So now, when he forgets that he has a Death Note, he doesn't need to know that he's the one that did it because everybody has money. He knows as much as everybody else does, you know. And it's a great plan. It's a wonderful plan, and it helps out so many people. And you think everything's all good. He didn't break any rules on the Death Note. He did everything he was supposed to do. But then the ending happens. So, the ending, as some of you may know, where a new rule is made for the Death Note, where I didn't even know you could make new rules, but apparently you can. New rule is made for the Death Note, where if you buy or sell the Death Note, you'll die too. So this rule is made after the transaction was made, so Minoru has no idea what's going on. He doesn't know this is going to happen to him. But it's told to Trump, of course, and Trump decides to not accept the Death Note, so he won't die. But because it was sold and the money was received, now we know Minoru's fate. So what happens? You know, Ryuk does another little betrayal here, and he writes Minoru's name in the Death Note and kills him. Now this is even more betrayal than it was with Light, because with Light, Ryuk told him from the get-go, when it comes time for you to die, I'm going to write your name in the Death Note. So he told him from the get-go. Tanaka, he never told him that. He didn't give him that information. So Minoru this whole time is thinking that he's going to be fine, right? So that kind of part kind of did rub me the wrong way, but I do, after some thought, I do see the message at the end of it, because a lot of people didn't like it, and I wanted to say what conclusion I came to, because dealing with something like the Death Note is like dancing with the dead, right? It's a power that humans should not possess, right? Humans should not have that kind of power to rule over life and death like that. And when you dance with the devil, you lose. And no matter which way you do it, no matter what route you try to take, no matter what you're trying to do, that's just what happens. And that's what happened to Minoru, where he found a loophole, but it doesn't matter. The devil's not going to play fair, you know? So that's what happened to him. He met his end because he played with fire, right? So that was kind of the message at the end of it, where it's like, no, there is no way to play with this death note. There is no way to find some way how to be better, how to do it better than light, how to have a more successful outcome. No, if you play with fire, you get burned. That's it, you know. And that was the message. And after realizing that, I respected it a little bit more. I respected the mangaka's decision to write the story like this. It was very entertaining. I liked it. I felt that that cliffhanger, that those clip like I mean, granted it was all one chapter, but I felt that anticipation, that tension, like what's gonna happen? What is he thinking? What is he planning? And I'd miss that because Death Note used to have that every single episode. Reading this, it made me feel that feeling once again, and it was great. I loved it. So so yeah, I definitely love the one shot. I can see why it was trending. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. That's as far as I'm gonna go into it. Let me know let me know in the comments section down below. Like, subscribe. If you didn't like it, if you like the video, you can unlike. But at least I'm glad that you guys can hear me now. But yeah, so let me know what you guys think, and yeah, that's it. Daily out.